Hey guys, welcome back. You have heard the idea or the concept around having intention, meaning that be intentional about your day, be intentional about your training. Um, you have focused practice, right? Don't just practice, but have purposeful practice. These ideas of being focused on what we're trying to accomplish. Today, I'm going to expand that for you onto the next level for those that are ready for it. And even if you're not fully prepared to have more of an intentional life, an intentional day, a productive day, you will be able to pull out of things from this conversation to really help you achieve more goals, have a better quality of life, have better self care. And we're going to dive into that today based off of a lot of the work that I've been doing recently. And I believe it's going to help a lot of you. So, welcome to Our Best Self. I share stories, research, experiences that's really designed to make us have the best life, best self, and go from there. And my name is James DeLucia, and I share stories here. So, thank you for coming. Subscribe, share, add comments. Loving all the engagement. Yeah, I'm getting a few messages directly and just doing my best. So I appreciate all the love and support. When we think about our day, when we think about our goals, we often try to be doing the things that make us better. It sounds obvious, but we try to think of what we need to do and then we do it. And when we achieve a plan, let's say you want to do something that other people have done before you. When you achieve a plan or you have a plan, you follow the steps: 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. And what's nice about that is you know exactly where you need to go. You know the action you need to take and the result you should see from it. And based on that feedback, you are either on the next step or you're going to repeat that step. And there's a lot in life where you have that type of predictability. And there's an equal amount of life that is not predictable, where you are trying to do something fresh, something that has not been done before. That exists. If you think about Elon Musk making rockets, people have made rockets before. They've launched rockets before. So he had a fixed path of what actions he needed to be able to accomplish. He needed to make a rocket, have it take off, not explode. And I believe by the 4th rocket, he did that. And that's incredible. That's super efficient. That was super impressive. And it worked. But then he did something that others had not done. And this is where there are sometimes a path and sometimes there is not a path. He landed rockets. And nobody except in science fiction was landing rockets. And he did that. He tested it. He figured it out. His team implemented it, and now we have landing rockets. And that's kind of becoming the norm if you start looking at some of these businesses and technologies. And that's crazy. And it's becoming more of the norm because people see a path to achieving it. It's much like the sub 4 minute mile. When it was a sub 6 minute mile or sub 5 minute mile, people said it couldn't be done. And then it was done. And the sub 4 minute mile, and then that was done. And I think we just had basically a 2-hour marathon happen this year. The reason the things that we thought we could never achieve become more common is because the first few people that had to go after it, many failed, but somebody figured out a way, and that way became known. First off, it became known from a belief, a self-belief that I can make this happen. I can achieve this. I can achieve a 2-hour marathon. I can achieve a 4-minute mile. I can land rockets on Earth, on a barge, floating in the ocean. When you have that self-belief, knowing that it is possible, that you can do it, and then you combine that with a plan that was proven or steps that were proven before, well, now you're off to the races. And that's what we see, and which is super exciting. So if whatever you're working on, there are some aspects of your life that there is a predictable path, at least milestones that you can hit in order to get you where you want to go. And that doesn't mean you're just doing what everybody else is doing. but maybe it's building an online product. Maybe it's opening a physical store. Maybe it is anything you dream. And when you think about it from that framework, you can then start layering in known milestones and your own, right? Because what you're doing is unique and incredible. But how do we achieve this? How do we do the things we need progressively every single day to achieve it? Well, we do that by being intentional, by designing our actions in order to achieve that result. And that's where we want to focus on today. So, whatever you're working on, whether you are trying to start a business, raise your kids, run a marathon, become a barrel racer, whatever it is, you need to think about the milestones that you need to hit as you're progressing, and you need to think about what are the actions you need to take daily, perhaps, in order to hit those milestones, right? Do you need to get stronger, faster, more well-read, network with more people, sell? You need to make sales calls every day to hit your sales target, your revenue target, to make rent at the end of the month. Actions. You need to know what the actions are for achieving those milestones. And sometimes you have the milestones, you break it down. Here are the things that we need to achieve and accomplish. And then here are the actions we need to do to get those achievements, right? There can be layers here. I'm not trying to simplify something incredible or complex for whatever you're dealing with. But we need to put those actions in place and then be disciplined, consistent, and intentional about those specific things every day. Now, that's great. So we're going to be doing that every day. But what about our day is supportive of this goal? And this is something that's really been striking to me recently. I've been really having to jump into personally, is because when I look at my day, I get bounced around all the time. We've got these fires, we've got work items, we've got, suddenly there's these kid events and challenges, and then there's, upset parties, and people are reaching out, and, people are in trouble, people get sick. There's just life. And it keeps bouncing me out of being intentional, not just in my life, but in how I practice it. And that's what I want to really share, in that are you living life intentionally, meaning that you're alive? And are you doing something today that is making today worth your living self? You've got trillions of cells, you're all these life forms and organisms operating together in concert, and you're in this planet. Like, are you living your life intentionally as you envision, with good behaviors, with good health, with a growth mindset? And for me, whether we are or not, we know we can improve, right? Somebody was talking about, are you better today than you were last year? Meaning that, are you healthier? Are you wealthier? Are you richer in experiences? Are your relationships better? Those are all great questions. It's good to look back and say, are we better from when we were before? And whether your answer is yes or no, you always would like it to be better, right? Whatever your good is, whether you're just getting started, or maybe it was horrible, you had like a train wreck of relationships or finances, and now you're building up. You definitely want to get better, right? So we need the discipline in our days to get better. So how do we do that? Well, we do that with the idea of structuring the day intentionally. Designing your day is what I want you to embrace, and reflect on your days. Look at the last week. Look at the last 12 hours of your day. Were you intentional in how you structured it? Not just what you did. Doing the things you need to do, that's just bare minimum, right? Like for me, I do my workouts, I do a cold plunge, or I do something to help put stress on my body. I try to eat right. I read, I write, I reach out to family. I do these things for myself to be better. But that's just the bare minimum, right? What am I doing to get better? What am I doing to grow and see my dreams come true? And I have those actions. And then when I looked over the last couple weeks, couple years, I see some actions just didn't get done. And there's some patterns, right? Some things, there's fear in some of those actions. I'm sure we all have them, and they were avoided. And then we have some things that make no sense why we didn't get those done. And it came obvious to me when I started recognizing that throughout my day, I have constant interruptions, right? We literally are, on-demand interruptions. That's literally, I'm brought in to deal with when things are in trouble, right? I am the escalation. I am the firefighter. I am the person you bring in to solve complex problems, technology, business, humans. That's what I'm there for. And that's what I do very well. And I get excited when I get to help people. And when I think back, though, the reason I did not hit my goals, the reasons my relationships were where they were, is because with all these interruptions, I now didn't have a life in a day that was productive. I mean, I did not box things together in a way that delivered a quality life. And I've worked on that. And I feel like this is a massive opportunity to tackle these intentional periods in our life so that you and I can begin and finish on some of our goals and grow and see them flourish, frankly. So, what does it mean to design your life? Like, what does it really, really mean? Well, step one, we need to know our goals and the relevant actions to achieve them. That's number one. So, think about your goals and what are the actions you would like to have. Then we need to start thinking about our different time boxes. And time boxes could be a 15-minute window, a 30-minute window, a 90-minute window, but they're just boxes of time. And what I like to do is I like to go through and think of my self-care, being a parent, training, writing, reading, work, on and on. Like you write all these things down that you do every day that are priority. Eating might be a good one to write down. And then I put blocks, I group them together, and I put blocks of time around them. Great. So writing and training, writing, reading, and researching and building, I think I have 90 minutes. Great. I have workouts, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I've got mobility, hydration, ice plunge. Okay, that's an hour. But I'm grouping them. And then I'm being intentional, like, oh, that's an hour. That's 2 hours. And I'm, this is when I'm with my kid. This is where we're doing carpool. So we're grouping these together so that we can create dedicated time. We're compressing the activities that go together, right? And so the reason I'm compressing them is that they're meaning that they complement each other, right? If you're working out, doing a cold plunge or a sauna back to back with that makes total sense. You're already in the right clothing. You're already going to take a shower. So you don't need to take 2 showers. You can take 1. It just naturally fits. I have another grouping where I have my learning, my writing, and my reflection time together also. And the reason that's great is because I'm already in a mental, intellectual state where I want to kind of go in that flow all at once. Now, for these types of activities, I put them early in the morning. I don't know what your lifestyle, what situation you have. If you can avoid it, I would avoid it. But I like to do it before the rest of the world wakes up, before my kids wake up, before my wife wakes up, before the dog needs to go out. I want to be done and have achieved my self-care, my creative work before all that happens. And then I begin my work day. Now, the work day, I try to suggest people to think about it in like a 3 to 5 hour window. Now, obviously, it's going to scatter. It could be an 8, it could be a 12 some days, but try to find 3 to 5 maximize time together so that way you can compress all the meetings, all the work, and drive these results that you're being paid to do. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're doing this for yourself, or you're doing it with a company. Now, the reason I say 3 to 5 does not mean you're not working a lot more hours. But when you think about it from a 3 to 5 point of view, you actually unlock 2 things. First off, you compress meetings. So you become hyper focused at compressing staff meetings, debates, committees, votes, all these things, you bring it together. That allows you then to have additional time to produce more work, to deliver more results for your employer or for yourself. Second, the morning writing, reflections, intellectual efforts, my learning, the books I'm reading, all of those support work also. So those also come back into it and they really provide a benefit. So make no mistake, the 3 to 5 hour block that we're making for work is the compressed focus interacting with team members and staff, so you can then have other time for different kinds of work, maybe independent work where you have to do it yourself. I like those later in the day. I like those meetings later in the day if possible. Now, what about your goals? We haven't talked about your goals yet. How are you, if you're designing your day, when do you reach for your goals? When do you do your goals? Now, these, first off, I make a time block of 90 minutes. 90-minute focus work is a beautiful thing. It's probably the max we should ever be chewing on, and it's super convenient to kind of drop in a 90-minute window. You just turn off all the notifications and you just go. What goes in a 90-minute window is your actions of your goals. Now, I prefer to be very output specific in what these actions are. I want to have a beginning and end of it. This way, we are not kind of caught off guard as to what it is, what we're doing, and how it's going to all fit together. So that said, 90 minutes, I like to think about 2 to 4 90-minute blocks a day, ideally. And then these are dedicated times. We really want to make sure it is a singular focus. I don't want us rambling down into lots of different rabbit holes. You want to have a beginning and end. When you're done, you stand up, clap it out, smile, put a checkbox on the to-do list, make a sip of water, and then move to the next thing. We are trying to be intentional and moving ourselves along, moving our life along, progressing to be better. It can only happen when you have finished the task after you put in the right amount of effort. So focus on that. Now, once you got the times placed in, you get to it. Kind of get cooking, right? Just go right at it and put in the hard work. Now, the rest of your day is for kids, is for family. Maybe it's for some athletic endeavors. It's for reading. It's for getting better at other things that you want to do. And if you can add a few more 90 blocks, go ahead. But maybe those 90 minutes are networking. It's a dinner with family. It's a dinner with friends. It's a business event, right? We want to make sure we are driving in there. Finally, a word of caution on the 90s. Let's not make them 180s. So everything's got to be a 90-minute block max. So find ways to make it fit. Then when you think about making things fit, we also have a lot of self-judgment about not hitting our goals, or we think about judgment around not being a good parent or not being a good friend or not being a good employee. And one of these areas where that comes out the most is where we have, let's say, carpool on Thursday, and or we have a staff meeting at Monday at 2. And then suddenly you're like, well, I can't do a 90-minute window at 1 o'clock because I got a staff meeting at Monday at 2, and that's conflicting. So I can't do 90 minutes all week now. And, well, I can't do it at 3:30 because I'm in carpool. So I guess I just can't do, 90-minute blocks for like this 3-4 hour window all week. You can kind of hear where I'm going with this. There are going to be edge cases in your day, Monday through Friday, and on the weekends, where you will be disrupted, where that 90-minute window is not possible, or that 15-minute window is not possible. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. When you're trying to live an intentional life, it takes time to build it to fit the hard things around your life and move some of those soft things, right? So for me personally, I move meetings to fit in the windows of time, and that allows us all to win. They're able to get a great meeting. I'm able to be intentional about my life, and we can march forward. So be aware of that. Time is to your advantage. Now, if you're only able to implement this a couple days a week, you're already winning. Remember, you started this to achieve your goals, to be a better parent, to be healthier, to be wealthier, to have better experiences. Even if you don't do this 7 days a week, you do this 3 days a week or 4 days a week or 1 day a week, look at the percentage improvement that you're already bringing into your life and the positive progression that you're achieving. By being conscious about how you're spending your time, making the time real time, and then executing it on those days at those times, you know that you're going to achieve it. Will you achieve it faster at a higher percentage and better productivity if you can work on it, chip on it every single day? Of course. But you're doing better than you were, and you should be proud of that. So I hope this is helpful to you. Living an intentional life, an intentional day is about organizing your time, putting it into like-minded time slots, and structuring it so that the rest of your life can fit within it. And it takes time. It takes 3-5 weeks, maybe a few months before you are able to adjust all of your life to fit around this schedule. But remember, it's your schedule. So we want to achieve our goals, live a life worth living. And sometimes that means adjusting. Often it means seeing that we are getting better, even just a little bit, every single day. So I hope this is helpful. Subscribe, share, let me know your habits, what you're doing to be intentional. And I just hope you have an absolutely amazing day.